Welcome. And the question today from Tamed Reckless is: at what moment did you realize F. I'm old? Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his llama pen, so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Oh boy, let's get ready for some drama. Sick nutty, you answered with: when I find myself grunting and groaning just to bend over to tie my shoes. Lonely Jellum 4N followed up with: yo, I do this and I'm 21. The Monkey of Lies answered with: when I went to a music festival and slept in a tent after 5 or so years of not doing so. My God. I need to get home and take a real shower. Bond Scoppinger followed up with: last year I went to a festival where we rented an apartment on Airbnb in the next bigger town and took the car over to the festival ground. That gave us the chance to sleep in an actual bed, take a shower in the evening, it looked like the whole acre coming off of my skin, and buy actual food in a supermarket rather than relying on tinned ravioli and the overly expensive crap they sell near the stage. Never looking back, best festival ever. This is Jemoja Furka chimed in with: that's the way to go when you're older and can afford it. I get that there are people who actually enjoy camping at festival, nothing wrong with that. But I think that most younger people do it because they can't afford a better solution. For me, the worst part of sleeping in a tent at festivals was waking up at 6 a.m. because the sun is out and my tent is already boiling hot. 20-year-old me could handle this, 30-plus-year-old me can't. Tenahemia answered with: when I was in my late 20s I dated a girl who had a daughter. The daughter and I got along great, played a bunch of Katamari together, etc. Years later, that girl and I have long since broken up. I did some volunteer teaching at one of the local alternative schools with my wife. And one of the students in the film class we taught was my ex-girlfriend's daughter, now 18 years old. At some point in your life, whether you have kids or not, you realize you're technically old enough to be a grandparent. And that feels very old. Onyx Hedgehog answered with: when I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the piss out of things millennials say. Uncle Dugan followed up with: ha ha ha, my sister is 19 and she's been keeping me abreast of the millennials are corny jokes. I had no idea we were suddenly so effing old and uncool. Onyx Hedgehog responded with: I have kids and thought I'd be a cool dad. I know for a fact now that my kids are going to think I'm just as much of an embarrassment as I found my own parents. Xanashi Hoshore answered with: I just turned 30 and got a hemorrhoid instantly. Also, I have no idea how to spell hemorrhoid. Monarch of Gold followed up with: allow me to help you. Hemorrhoid. Tan Croissant chimed in with: thanks, spelling it's a real pain in the ass. I hate traveling answered with: I was playing basketball alone and a bunch of kids smashed a beer bottle on the other side of the court just for fun. I shouted at them, told them to pick up the pieces and warned them not to do that poop ever again. They got scared shirtless and apologized. I had never felt older. Vindicator 9000 followed up with: F. When I was a kid, we thought it was fun to light cans of Sterno and throw them at trains. When we couldn't afford Sterno, we'd make our own napalm using garage ingredients. We built and fired homemade potato guns. We used to tap into phone lines in people's backyards and call 900 numbers. When I worked at the grocery store in high school, we would make dry ice bombs and throw them out of the back door. That one almost got me in big trouble. Once, we put a guy's house up for sale as a prank. I'm 40. My kids would freak the F out if they knew half of the delinquency that their boring old dad got up to back in the day. Yesu is Jens chimed in with: have you never smashed poop for fun? I am 30 and I still enjoy burning poop down and breaking stuff apart. Nurbovig answered with: coming around the corner of a department store and seeing my dad come around the corner at the same time. It was a mirror. Karaoke Stallion followed up with, I occasionally say things and hear my father's voice coming out of my mouth. I even notice I have the same half smile he does when I think I'm being clever. It's worrisome. My Burden to Bear chimed in with, sing for me, Bib. I'll say something then think holy hell I sounded exactly like Dad. Impablomations chimed in with, I'm in my late 40s and my beard is almost completely white. I was at an event a few weeks ago where my dad was receiving an award. The local dignitary who had been giving the award asked my dad if I was his younger brother. Mr. Conberg chimed in with, for me, I thought that old codger in the mirror was my grandpa. Then I remembered, he died, quite a while ago. Shady Adix answered with, I was walking through Sheffield after work, about 7 p.m., around December 2013 I think. It was freezing. A bunch of students rounded the corner and a couple of the girls were wearing really short dresses, no coats. Thought 1, she must be freezing. Thought 2, that's something my dad might have said. Thought 3, I'm old enough to be her dad. Thought 4, why did I not think she was fit? Thought 5, when the F did I start thinking like this? These thoughts passed through my head in what must have been only half a second. Red 7134 answered with, I was cleaning out the storage room and came across my old Game Boy. Said to myself, wow, this makes me feel old. It's been like 10 years since this was made. Got curious and Googled it. 1989. Canuck 187 answered with, when a doctor described me as middle-aged, F. Old Lady T-Rex Arms answered with, I got called a boomer, I'm 30, because a kid legitimately swallowed a whole bottle of pain pills, acetaminophen, in front of me, due to a toothache. While I was working and I simply told him to be careful because he could get really sick. Like I did, giving myself ulcers and vomiting blood, gaining irritable bowel syndrome because I took my pills on an empty stomach, or even died. When a kid half my age had to explain slang, such as thick to me. When a kid, who was borrowing her mom's flip phone cause her smartphone died, asked me to help her text cause she didn't understand how it worked. Lemking followed up with, I feel you. I'm 41 and got called a boomer in Among Us chat because I was using complete sentences. What the F? Why aren't you using complete sentences, pal? I'm Gen X, and if anyone is wondering, boomers are my parents, who were born in the early and mid-50s. Pakalili answered with, the day I realized, holy poop, I can actually retire. Now. Right now. There's a whole lot less stress going to work when I know I can say I don't give an F at any time, and walk out. Are not found followed up with, having FU money is an incredibly freeing thing. I enjoy wearing hats answered with, I had to explain to someone how we used to organize meeting up before cell phones became a thing. That and having to use encyclopedias and other books to complete homework. I'm mid-30s. The reactions I was getting, it was like I was explaining how to split an atom using 2 sporks. Edit, wowzers. What on earth is all this? Thank you for all the upvotes and awards. You wonderful kind strangers. Tips hat. Reading the comments of this thread, I'm being hit with waves of nostalgia. This whole convo happened after one of my colleagues, 19, phone had no data. And they were distraught about not being able to keep up with people and what was happening. It blew my mind that his social life was over as soon as data was done. So I stood on my quick save, UK reference, issued no frills soapbox. And started preaching about how I survived the Mad Max-esque dystopian wasteland with no phone at all. Mobiles were definitely on the scene when I was a teen, but they were still at that stage where someone older would be getting one for you, and even if you did have one, keeping the thing topped up with credit was another story. Had one at 17, 3310, but it was just extra weight in my pocket. Had no credit to call anyone and it was expensive to call landline to mobile, or so my parents yelled at me, so we still use landlines anyway. I remember one ringing people so they would call you back. And then being pissed if they managed to pick up the call because that cost credit. And would, a lot of times for me, take the balance to a point I couldn't one ring anymore. Maybe I should be posting this one on when did you realize? F. I was broke. Phone boxes were available, if they worked/hadn't been used as a toilet. Organizing meeting up. Plan way in advance, all the intricate details like where we're gonna eat and etc. Pick a distinctive landmark in the area and then do a round of landline phone calls perhaps the evening before just to make sure everyone was still on board. The day would come, you would turn up to a previously agreed location and then wait. That was it. I honestly don't remember a time where someone didn't turn up after the final "yeah, I'm there." Which could be days before the actual event. Late maybe, but there would usually be a checkpoint along the journey for people to catch up / if it was easier for them to meet up there. Tickets would be held by only the most reliable. I was never that person. I feel like plans would only be made with people you wanted to be around and if we all really, genuinely wanted to go out. Since it took effort to even agree on where, when, how and then coordinate. These days it's so easy to agree to things and then cancel at the last minute. How to split an atom with sporks. Prepare a suitable work area. I suggest a plate on top of a tea towel, place atom on top of the plate. Take a spork in each hand. Or gloves, but only those black gloves they use at barbecues and barber shops are acceptable. Use the spork in the left hand to split atom, then to hold in place. Use the spork in your right hand to scoop out the innards. Repeat until you have enough for the mushroom strudel. Usually just one required. Let me make it clear after all this rambling. I really enjoy how easy it is to look things up and communicate these days. But that time definitely taught me how to be more resourceful, and how to appreciate all this wonderful new technology. Too lazy didn't read. Some of you will never hear Bill Clinton say, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." After completing a 2 hours download of a tune from Napster, Morpheus, LimeWire, and that is a true shame. MLC 15 followed up with, "I was literally just talking to my friend about that. Neither of us could wrap our heads around how you'd plan anything. If someone didn't show up to your meetup, did you just assume they couldn't make it? How could you even call if there were a change of plans if you weren't at home to use the phone?" And finally, Moana Pons answered with, "Right now. Poop man, at this age my mom and dad had accomplished so much and I had done nothing. Surfing Reddit sadly." Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.